What's happening? Yeah, I figured we gotta do I need more mono synths. I gotta get a few more mono synths in order to make my collection complete, because everybody needs at least 10 mono synths. And mono synthesizers, as we all know, are so unique and so different from each other that you gotta keep looking and looking, and they gotta keep creating and creating until they get an amazing mono synthesizer that pleases everybody. So what we got is I got a video geared up from Reverb I'll check out, and they're just gonna go over the mono synths from Moog, and then I got a list of like the top mono synths that we'll check out, and then maybe at the end of the day we can all go out and buy ourselves another mono synthesizer, and I think that would be a great thing to do for everybody today. Alright, so let me jump on over here. I got this geared up. Let me jump to my mainframe. Bam bam. Look at that, man. Isn't that the most gorgeous setup ever? Alright, let's check this out. So this is comparing the 8 Moog mono synths from the Model D to the new Messenger. And I thought this was a great little video because it actually gives us a look of the history of the king of the mono synth, which is Moog. Or as the Brits say, Moog. Welcome to that synth show with your host, Synth Samurai. We're going to be transitioning to Reggae Samurai at some point, but I spoke to management this morning, and management feels that we should keep the Synth Samurai going until completely ready to release the Reggae Samurai on the world, and they've got me set up with some lessons with some of the top reggae musicians around the world. So I'll be taking some private classes in the art of reggae, and I will be combining synthesizers and reggae into one of the most extraordinary musical experiences of all time. And that one I might even take on the road, you know? A lot of people have been asking me to take this show on the road, so maybe I will, maybe I won't. What's up, Captain Energy Music? What's happening? Alright, so let's check this out real quick and we'll talk about it.
What's going on, everybody? This is Jake from Reverb. We got a special video for you today. Many of you have heard of March Madness. Today we're going to be doing our take on that with Moog Madness. We're going to be comparing 8 different Moog mono synths and picking one winner. We're going to be grading these different synths in terms of 5 different criteria. We've got pricing, feature set, versatility, playability, maybe most important of all, sound quality. Let's take a look at our contenders for today. Up first,
So as I just said, if you just popped in, we're going through the whole history of the Moog mono synths, you know, because they just released the new Moog Messenger. Everybody's sick about hearing it, but I got a message the other day from someone who went and gave like an actual non-shill opinion of it, and they said it's as far as a mono synth goes, I mean, I don't think you'll be able to buy a better mono synth for that price if you want that classic Moog sound. That's what I'm hearing. I got a couple friends that are going to get one of these, so I'll be able to let you guys know for real if this Moog Messenger is the real deal or not.
We've got the brand new Moog Messenger. We're going to be taking a look at the Prodigy, the Grandmother, the Sub Fatty, the Mother 32, the Source, the Realistic Concert Mate MG1, and the reigning champion, the Mini Moog Model D. The Getty Lee edition.
I used to have hair like that guy.
All right, round 1. We've got the Mother 32 against the Realistic Concert Mate MG1. The Mother 32 was one of the early Moog semi-modular synthesizers. It was their first foray into like the Euro rack world in the modern era. The Concert Mate MG1 was a model that they did for Radio Shack in the 80s.
Hey, what's up, Discipline Commotion? New proud owner of the Mini Moog, man. Congratulations. I've been checking out your jams. I'm loving how the MS5 and the Mini Moog is all singing together nice and sweet in your setup, so yeah. But today we're checking out the Realistic Synthesizer by Moog Music versus the Mother 32.
That's why it's the realistic synthesizer by Moog Music. It's still a Moog.
This is from Reverb.com if you don't know.
So let's take a listen to the Concert Mate MG1 first. Wait a second.
And I mean, personally for me, I mean, a monosynth is a monosynth. Usually when most people, if you haven't watched, Noire LeBlanc did a video the other day, a great one, where he basically says, you know, once you throw a monosynth on, you can use a VST or pretty much any monosynth. Once you whack a load of effects on it and a load of like EQ, compression, whatever you're gonna do, mix it up. Nobody who ever listens to your track will truly ever really know. Echo Craft says he can tell, but I don't think so.
What the hell's going on here? Polyphony? Disqualified. Last minute substitution here because the realistic Concert Mate MG was disqualified for polyphonic reasons. We've got the Moog Minotaur analog bass synthesizer
I kind of like this style, the Versus style. I always like the Versus.
here, which I think is going to pair really well against the Mother 32. Let's take a listen to both of them.
It's crazy to think that they're going to be selling this Mother 32 for, what is it, $5.99 or $6.99? Maybe even $7.99 in some spots, but let's just say $6.99, let's call it that. And you'll be able to pick up a Moog Messenger that has a D-Fan Moog in it. So the crazy thing is you can pick up the 3 Moog Sound Studios for $2,100 basically almost. Or you can pick up a Moog Messenger for $899. That's crazy. I don't even know. I just stopped paying attention there for a second. Because it's not that inspiring.
All right, we're about
It's a mono.
to get into our rankings. Before we do, something very important that we gotta say, that if you own any of these, or get any of these from
What do you got for round 2?
let's take a listen.
Alright, we got the Sub Fatty here versus the what? Versus the Messenger? No. The Sub Fatty versus the what? Turn my microphone up. Just have to talk louder because my microphone's on bust, I think. Let me check. Hold on. Let me see, because there's music playing in the background too. Let's see if this mic can get turned up. Nope, just gonna have to talk louder.
right, we heard them. We love them. They both sound fantastic. Let's compare them.
They don't sound fantastic. They both sound like mono synthesizers.
First things first.
Well, I guess they can sound fantastic, but they just, I don't see anything to like get excited about in either one of those.
The price. I think we've got to hand it to the Mother 32 again this round. Again, this thing is going for $4 to $6.
If I get to the end of this, and this guy, this is a very unique way for him to be like, man, the Messenger is the best thing you can ever buy, that'll be interesting.
$100 used to new, depending on when and where you get it. These 3 different oscillators, a keyboard with aftertouch, a sequencer, an arpeggiator, and a bunch of really, really, really interesting modulating options as well. But can it beat the Sub Fatty? That's the real question. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, of course it can beat the Sub Fatty. Guaranteed it can beat the Sub Fatty. One thing you can't beat the Sub Fatty with, though, is how cool the Sub Fatty looks. The Sub Fatty and the Sub 37 both look friggin' awesome. Beautiful design. Synth Seeker, what are you doing around these parts? You don't usually venture out into the, you know, the wild, wild west, do you?
Okay, starting off with the price point. The Sub Fatty has been discontinued, but you can find them used for a little under $1,000. Similarly, the Moog Messenger is going for a little under $1,000. So very similar price point. I think because
Similar price point, I'd say that the Sub Fatty definitely looks way, way cooler. But the Messenger, I think the Messenger just kind of, it just wins right now, I guess, with features. I don't know. We'll have to keep listening here for a second.
because this one has been discontinued, though, we are going.
Just look at the side view of this, though, man. Gorgeous. Look at this. You gotta say, man, that's a beauty. And it's got the side inputs too, which is pretty cool.
You have to give it to the Messenger. Get a couple out.
What's up, Lawrence Cron? Work today requires that I be at home, so I have the temptation of watching you. Yes, welcome to Temptation Island, Synth Seeker.
Moving on from there, we've got the versatility. We've already heard the Sub Fatty. It's a classic sound for a lot of reasons, but the Messenger is really doing something new to me. The modulating options in particular kind of make it feel like some of the stuff you can get out of the Mother 32, right? With the different patching options. You've got a bunch of different ways that you can route stuff, and with the aftertouch feature.
Andrew VTAC. We need the Juno X, the Jupiter X, the K2062, even the Polybrute 12. Kill the Messenger, Behringer, whatever. I couldn't care less. Messenger is bollocks. Two's our synth. Yeah, I got a message the other day that said that it was this dude who said he tried the Messenger. He's been into like synthesizers for, who knows, it could have been a Moog plant, but he basically went out and said that this thing was absolutely blew his expectations away. But that's a lot of glaze for me. I feel like the Moog Messenger is just going to be, I think people will be really happy that it's $899, and I think the sound will be just, you know, okay. It'll be like a Moog sound for $899, but it's a mono synth. It's nothing special, it's nothing extraordinary, and I think Hans Volt said that the best thing about it with the Messenger is the CV in and out.
Particular. It really is something else, so I think we're going to have to give a point to the Messenger. Dovetailing off of that, let's move on to features. So right off the bat, there's a lot that these two have in common. They have presets, they've got 3 oscillators, they've got a really robust filter with full ADSR, they've each got a drive function. On the Messenger, it's a feedback in with feeding it back into itself, versus the sub-fatty is a multi-drive. But the Messenger, to me, really has the sub-fatty. We already talked about the aftertouch. We already talked about all the different modulation options. But this thing really can get you some really out there lead and bass and sound design sounds that I haven't really heard before in modern synth.
Yeah, you got the Michael Jackson in the background, demonetized.
A good case in point, right? The sub.
Yeah, Chris said, yeah. You can yeah, exactly.
Fatty is known for its wide array of bass sound you can get out of it, and it's a classic for that reason. But one of the really cool new things on this Messenger is this res bass option, which basically lets you preserve some of the low-end frequency while...
That's the big thing. Just play it, bro. Come on.
Parameter record some of these knob gestures.
Let's hear it. Sub-Fatty versus the Messenger. Let's hear it. Which one wins? I know, Prodigy versus the Messenger.
Next up, facing off against the Messenger, you've got the Moog Prodigy. This was a mono synth released by Moog in 1979. This was one of their early prosumer models, so it was like as the synth boom was kind of taking off, this was specifically marketed towards, let's say, non-studio owning musicians. Let's take a listen.
That's when they were using the wood from recycled classroom desks. So they got a bunch of classroom desks and ripped the top off them and put them on the sides of the Moogs. You can tell this isn't like the most premium wood from back in the day, I don't think. It looks like classroom desktops. Yeah, Chris said, you know, that was like what, one of the biggest complaints about the Moog filter. Somehow they black magicked everybody and made everybody believe that the Moog filter was the best, but it always lost the low end, which some people didn't mind because sometimes they would say when they had a Moog and they're performing that it doesn't sit well in the mix, so losing some of that low end is good sometimes, I think people said, but they addressed it with this res bass mode. Yeah, exactly. Probably got a piece of gum stuck on the other side of it, Colt. Yeah.
All right, starting off in this next round, we got to compare the price on these two. So again, we said a little under $1,000 for the Messenger versus a lot of the prices I'm seeing for the Prodigy starting at $1,200 and up. Again, this is
$1,200 for an old used Prodigy. Yeah, I'd say you're better off picking up the Messenger there. Listen, man, you buy an old vintage synthesizer, you better be in it for the long haul because you're gonna have to maintain that thing right off the hop. You know, unless you get some crazy pristine one, even then, I don't know. I think buying vintage synthesizers, unless you're rich, there's no point.
It's a vintage synth, so it's going for vintage synth prices. Easy point for the Messenger. Moving on to versatility. It seems a little silly to compare some of the versatility in a more vintage model to what is the newest model in Moog's lineup, but I think it's an important look at how far we've come. With the Prodigy, you've got 2 oscillators against the 3 with the sub-oscillator in the Messenger.
Yeah, vintage maintenance is crazy. And if you want to see crazy, go to Kent Spong, the Pubness, and watch him fix those old vintage synthesizers, man. It's insane. Yeah.
You've got full ADSR over here on the Messenger versus on the Prodigy, it's like a pseudo ADSR. We've got attack and sustain on their own knob, and then decay and release have like a shared knob, and you control the release by turning this little button over here on or off. We've got 8.
What else has the Moog sound? I think the Behringer Poly D's got the Moog sound.
Dedicated knob.
I think the Behringer Model D desktop has the Moog sound. And I mean, when you're talking about a Behringer Model D for, what do you get that, $250? compared that to a $5,000 mini Moog. I think if you just want that Moog sound, you can get it from a Behringer Model D, and you can get it from a Poly D too. And I know lots of people who have the Model D and the Poly D, they take their Poly D gigging with them. They say it's, you know, they keep their $5,000 furniture at home and they bring their Poly D out gigging, and it does amazing.
To control the wave shape on the Messenger versus just different waveform options on the Prodigy. So for all of those and more, we've got to give the versatility point to the Messenger.
Okay, I got a feeling I know where this is going. I'm not even going to skip ahead, but I got a feeling this is a very slick way of making a Moog Messenger video.
Up next against the Messenger is the Moog Source, which was a synthesizer that debuted in 1981.
Yeah, Cress had me too. I'm not the market for a Moog either.
This is one of the first Moog synthesizers to include presets and sequencers and a lot of really interesting stuff on it.
Yeah, the $5,000 experience of, like, sometimes I wonder if that $5,000 actually affects you psychologically and just makes you feel like it's something even more special because of the price. I don't know.
The hood. Let's take a listen.
I like the sound of the Source, to be honest with you. And I also think the Source looks amazing. So, looks-wise, the Source looks way cooler than the Moog Messenger.
First thing we got to get out of the way, the pricing between the two. The point clearly goes to the Messenger. This thing is coming in again at a little under $1,000. The Source has been discontinued for decades at this point. It is a vintage synth with a vintage price tag. I think the cheapest we saw online was like $2,000, and they're going
$2,000 for the Source. So, I mean, it's hard to say you wouldn't buy a Moog Messenger instead, because you're gonna pay $2,200 for a Moog Source. I don't think so.
or even more than that, depending on the condition. Gotta give it to him.
Yeah, he's, I don't know what this guy's doing playing-wise. He's not doing the best playing, that's for sure. It seems like he's just keeping it super, super simple. Interesting. Yeah, Synth Seeker, a lot of people got trust issues, don't they? It's hard to trust things these days.
Yes. Feels a little weird to do, but I want to talk about the versatility and the playability of these different synths because I think they go a little hand in hand. The Source has some really cool sounds and it clearly has a lot of depth under the hood, but this sort of touchpad-y, press a button to get something to control and then use this big knob
Blah,
is
blah, blah.
nice and sleek.
Messenger wins again. I know exactly what's going to happen here, and it's pretty cute that they're doing this. But they might give it to the Gram. I'll be very surprised if they give this to another synthesizer besides the Messenger.
All right, the hot newcomer, the Messenger, is doing great today. So next up, the new challenger approaching is the Gram.
What's up, Cyber Samurai? What's happening, brother? I mean, I think the Grandmother is such a cool synthesizer. I think it looks cool. I like the Grandmother a lot, to be honest with you, but I like the fact on the Messenger you can save presets, and it comes with presets too, so you can recall them. Like I said, I think the Messenger is like basically the ultimate gigging Moog. Bro got that turquoise ring. What's up, Brandon McKinley? What's happening, bro? No need to apologize for rudeness. All the rude boys in here. Don't forget the Moog grandmother's got that spring reverb built in there too. Yeah, Crescent, I like the pastel colored grandmother. I like that too. Yeah, go ahead and hit the like button. Subscribe if you're into it.
Comparing the different price points, we've got the Messenger coming in again at just a little under $1,000 versus the Grandmother, which is about $1,000 new. We're seeing these on Reverb right now for as low as like $800 or $900. So I think for that reason alone, we've got to give the price point to the Grandmother. Moving on to versatility, I have to give a point to the Messenger, if only because of this wave-shaped knob. On the Grandmother, you've got different wave forms that you can choose some, as well as a little bit of modulation options with patching.
So we're at 1-to-1 here. Where do you think it's going to go?
But the ease of not just controlling the wave shape on this one, but the modulation options that go with it, dovetailing off of that, talking about the feature potential in each of these, I think the point has to go to the Grandmother because of...
Know what he's doing here? He's doing the classic. He's going 2-to-1, and he's going to go neck and neck right to the end. You got to love it, man. You got to love the glaze.
The semi-modular capabilities. And the spring reed. Seems like a small one, but when you're getting your first synthesizer, if you don't have an interface to plug it into a DAW and don't want to spend any extra money on pedals, it can be a little underwhelming plugging in something even like a Model D direct into a console with nothing else going through it. We need a little bit of reverb to kind of give some depth and some space and some vibes to our sound. Moving on to playability, it's a close call again between these two. The knobs feel...
Oh my God. Moog Messenger just got knocked out. Totally crazy.
Somewhat surprising upset at the 11th hour with the newcomer losing.
All right, now I'm full fan of Reverb. They didn't give the Messenger the title, which is cool. You know what they're going to give the title to. They're going to give the title to the big boy, aren't they?
To the Grandmother. But now we're going to head into the final round. Grandmother has to face off against the reigning champion, Model D.
Yeah, my theory got destroyed. I was totally off there. Or it was just a real sneaky double super truffle where they just kind of like told you the Moog Messenger was the best, but they can't say it's better than the minilogue, right? Because that would just make nobody ever buy a minilogue. I think the Grandmother might end up winning this. Yeah, the winner obviously already is the Behringer Model D is the winner. Spoiler, they cut that part at the end, so I had to put it in right now.
If you're watching this video now, you probably know what a Model D is. If you don't, there's tons of other videos.
I do like the red Geddy Lee Model D. I think it's pretty friggin' sacrifice.
Videos out there often that we've even done about this instrument. This is one of the most famous synthesizers in the world for a reason. You know it, you love it. Let's compare the two. So right off the bat, obviously, if we're comparing just the price and we'll say, I guess, the value of what you get for your dollar, I have to give the points to the Grandmother. Just because this instrument costs about what I paid for my first car. Whereas this instrument costs less than what I paid for my first guitar. Point to the grandmother. I'm probably gonna get flamed in the comments for this.
Synth Seeker, don't you know those raffles are rigged, bro? Don't waste your money, those raffles are rigged.
But for the next category, we're gonna go a little out of order now. Features, I have to give a point to the grandmother because of its ability to play really nice with the Euro world. All the different modulation options that you get there, as well as an onboard sequencer and arpeggiator, which for its hefty
Dude, he's gonna give it to the grandmother.
price tag, you do not get the Model D. That being said, when we're talking about the versatility of the sound and sonic palette, I feel like this instrument is pretty unrivaled in other synthesis. And it has stood the test of time for a reason. The oscillators on this thing are packed.
You did it to give the money to the Moog Foundation? What do you think, Moog doesn't have enough money? You think the Moog Foundation needs money, dude? It's a 501c3 tax-free entity. You know what I'm saying? Why don't they just give the Moog away to somebody?
Absolutely incredible. I could spend.
Or why don't you put your money into a charity that actually matters? Put your money into a friggin' synthesizer charity, dude. Synth Seeker. That's weak, bro. Go put your charity in to stop like friggin' human trafficking, child trafficking. Put your money there, man. Instead of like putting your money towards helping out a synthesizer charity that's obviously they're rich.
Hours tuning.
Go down to your local soup kitchen, man, and give them the however much money you bought into the raffle.
These bad boys.
Yeah, whatever.
They are so much fun to use. All the different frequencies and the ways that they.
Synth Seeker, the synth philanthropist here. Synth Seeker goes out and donates his money to help all the poor little rich synth kids.
Are such a joy to play with. This really is a special instrument. So for versatility of sound, we've got to give points to this. When we talk about the playability of these two synthesizers, I have to give the point again to the knobs feel incredible. The keyboard.
Take your Moog donations and give it to veterans. How about that?
Feels incredible.
Give it to the Homeless Veterans Foundation.
You've got aftertouch and everything.
Wounded Warriors.
It's right on your fingers. It's a little thing, but just the ability to both lift and lower this panel here, depending on what it might call for, is really unrivaled. Playability goes to Moog. Last but not least, we've got to talk about the sound of these two instruments. Now,
and let's be honest, you just donated to the Moog Foundation because you actually want to win the synthesizer. Did you really do it because you want to help out, the Moog family and the Moog charity? Come on, bro.
I would argue, with all of its Euro-rack integration possibilities, there's probably some weirder sounds that you could get out of the grandmother, but the oscillators that you've got on the Model D are really second. For the sound, it's gotta be. It's a reigning champion.
Knew it. Of course, you give it to the most expensive synthesizer, the Model D. Are you really gonna say that the Model D beats them all? Because just price alone, people are saying that you can get the Model D sound from the Moog Messenger. So I don't think the Model D should win. I'm reversing. I think the Messenger should win. Alright, let's check these out. These are the best mono synths of 2024. Let's see what they had on the list. We got the Dreadbox Typhon. Now I've heard... Chill, you sound like a bitter conspiracy theorist. Problem thing is, Synth Seekers, conspiracy theorists aren't bitter, right? And I think the conspiracy theorists now are actually like 100-0 to the mainstream dudes like you. You know what I mean? Yeah, right. All right, everyone. Synth Seeker, the Bill Gates of the synth world. Synth Seeker trying to reform his reputation like Bill Gates did back in the day when he got busted doing all that weird stuff, he became a philanthropist. Synthseeker is here shouting from the rooftops that he is a synth philanthropist helping Moog bring music to the world $1 at a time with his lottery ticket purchase for the Geddy Lee edition. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Synthseeker, you are the Bill Gates of the synth world. Alright, so this is what we got. We got the Dreadbox Typhon desktop monophonic analog synthesizer. That there is $449. I think that's pretty sweet. If you haven't checked that out, I think that's probably one of the best price. This comes full of effects, presets. It's got a small real estate. It's a beautiful little synthesizer, right? 2 VCOs, 4-pole resonant filter, 2 envelope generators. Big ups Anti with many modern sound designs. I think it's amazing. Synthseeker, yeah. Synthseeker, bro, you're hilarious. You're a hilarious dude, man. If you only knew what I know. If you only knew what I know, Synthseeker. I know what you did last summer should be the tagline for Synthseeker. Alright, Roland SEO2 analog synthesizer module. This thing is pretty cool. This one here, 463. This was made with the Studio Electronics back in the day, I believe. And this was one of the coolest little Moog boutique desktops that came out, and I thought it was pretty awesome, right? So we got the Moog SEO2, we got the Make Noise Strega semi-modular instrument and signal processor. We got the Novation Base Station 2 analog synthesizer. What's up, Tom Sports? What else we got on the top of this? We got the Erica Synth Bassline, desktop bassline synthesizer. Very cool. The Malevolent monophonic semi-modular analog synthesizer. Then we've got the Create Audio East Beast semi-modular. So, guy I know wanted to sell me the East Beast, and I don't know if I want it because it looks pretty intense. What else we got? We got the Sequential Pro 3, Synthpunk's favorite synthesizer right here. Special edition, multi-filter mono synth. Now this one here, let's check this out in tribute to Synthpunk. Then I gotta roll, get to work.
I'm Kevin Spundy at Sweetwater, and we have Dave at Sequential with something new.
We have the new Pro 3 monophonic synth here. It's, well, of course, we think it's pretty awesome. We, of course, started with the Pro 1 in the early 80s. Everybody knows that synth is an awesome
Early bird gets the worm, Twin City Oxygens, you know that.
mono synth, used in a lot of recordings, favorite of a lot of people still today. A few years back, we did the Pro 2, which wasn't really much like the original Pro 1, but we did a whole lot of new stuff with that, and it was a really cool synth. But now we have the Pro 3, which is again different from the Pro 2. There's a couple similarities, but it's really a new synth. I'll go through a couple of the main things. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on here that you'll find eventually, but we have 2 voltage-controlled oscillators.
Reggae Samurai has management said that the world isn't ready for Reggae Samurai yet, so they're going to be doing some reggae lessons with some of the top talent around the globe with Synth Samurai. And once Synth Samurai gets to the point where the chops are pristine, then the Reggae Samurai is going to drop. That'll probably be not too long. Stay tuned.
They're so old school, 100% analog. You get all the classic sounds out of those. But what we have done new is the third oscillator is a wavetable oscillator. And what we have are 32 sets of 16 wavetables. And the 16 wavetables are made to work together so you can sweep between them and modulate them. So, for example, I'm just sweeping through the 16 steps. Here's another one. I'm just going through a couple of them. So some of them are obviously highly digital and nasty, and then you have stuff like this.
Pro 3 is super cool. Alright, you guys take it easy. I gotta go to work.